Okay, it's a bit of a rainy day today, but we're gonna try to get this chicken coop on the side of my garage completed. I've got just a couple of things left to do. I've got to put, you see this roll of hardware cloth out here on the driveway. I got to put a piece of that on the coop inside the garage. I'll show you what I mean. Come on out. So here is the coop inside the garage. I've got doors down here on the bottom. I've got two of these, but you can see them on hinges. These lift up on the bottom. These doors up here also lift up to allow you to either, reach in if you have a sick chicken or something like that, or if you have to tend to something in there. I've got boxes on both ends. It's kind of covered up at the moment. Let's get some stuff out of the way. I've built most of this using staples. This thing is rock. This thing is rock solid. I mean, it's pretty damn solid. This here is this is a pipe, a bit of PVC pipe I found on the side of the road during one of my trash picking days. I thought, man, that's a pretty long, big piece of PVC. I'll use it for something down the road. And it's perfect for this purpose. It's basically going to be a feeder. You dump your food into here, and then it comes out inside. I'll show you that in a little bit. But I've got, again, another one over here. But we're going to put a door in somewhere right down there in the middle of this thing. We're going to cut a hole in the side of the garage, and we got to put this electronic door, this thing that automatically opens and closes. It's got sensors. It's got light sensors, so it'll open at dawn and close at dusk, so they can come in and out. But I've got to get this installed. Also, I have no hardware cloth on the top of this thing, so I've got to cut a piece of it and put it up there on top to completely close it in. But we're getting pretty near being done with this. I didn't want to film this entire process because it would have been really long and arduous. It was long and arduous as it was just to build the thing, but I didn't want to film it the entire process. But here are the egg boxes. Here's one on this end, and then we've got a double-decker box. We've got a little, push this in, pull this nail, and then we've got two more boxes down there if you want to hop into that. And then over here on this end, we've got two more boxes. There's some kind of formula for like how many egg boxes you're supposed to have per chicken. And we have 8 chickens. And so we've actually got 8 boxes, which is more than you need. But if we ever wanted to expand the number of chickens, we should easily be able to do that. And down here on the bottom again, this door opens downward. You're going to be upside down for a second. But there's the other box. You can kind of see through to the other side there, but we got to get the door in. We've got to finish up putting the top on. So let's go ahead and cut a piece of that hardware cloth that's out there on the driveway. The hard part is getting it the hard part is kind of dealing with this stuff because it just tends to want to crinkle up and not be straight all the time. So this is how you'll clean it out when you come to clean this thing out. But I'm going to have to get in there with my staple gun on the backside. Really ready for this to be over with. Been working on this thing for weeks now, really just a little at a time when I get some time. See if this sorry for the loudness. What I'm doing is I'm letting all the air out of this compressor because it has trouble starting up if it's got air in it. You're supposed to actually let all the air out of it after every use, but I don't always remember to do that. Just need to get a couple of staples in to start this off. Alright. Hold it for now. Okay. Oh, this is a pretty tight chicken coop. Ugh. There's a reason for the saying all cooped up. So you can see what I've done here. I'm using the full width of the garage inside these studs because this is not insulated garage. So all I've got is this board right here, and then there's siding on the outside, and that's it. So I wanted to go ahead and utilize this few inches of space to give them a little more space. But I had to put these little spacers in here to give me something to nail to. The idea here is like raccoons and stuff like that, if they got in the garage, obviously we don't want them getting in here, but also we don't want mice. Oof. Yeah, I had a misfire with my staples. Cleaned it out. Don't ever try to clean anything out like this under pressure. This is my first jam. I've actually been doing this for a while, and that's my first time I've had to raise this end up and release a jammed up staple. So that's actually not too bad, but that also tells me that maybe my my oil isn't good enough. I know I'm not using the right oil. I'm actually using 3-in-1 oil in this thing, and I know that isn't correct, but it's better than nothing. Probably some Zoom spout would be better than the 3-in-1 because it's closer to like sewing machine oil. Okay, there's my jam. All right. I always thought Britney Spears was my jam until now.
That's not funny.
No, it's not funny, is it? Okay, jam removed. Hey, let's see if we got it. Try that. Man, this thing is not. What is going on? Another jam. Okay. All right, so there's the back side done. Now we can get out of here and do the front side. Yeah, like I said, this thing has not jammed up very much, and this is one of those Central Pneumatic from Harbor Freight 2-in-1 air nailer stapler, and the staples I'm using are these. These are 18 gauge, 1.5 inch by 1/4 inch wide, and there's 2,500 in a box. I think the box was under 10, I think it was around 10 bucks, something like that, $10 or $12. This thing's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of acting a bit weird today. It has not been this finicky the whole time until today, and it started kind of acting up on me.
He's getting stage fright. Don't judge him.
See, I don't know why it's doing that. I really don't.
Oh, thank you. Bye, Hope.
Yeah, it's jamming up on me. Right. I gotta figure out what's going on with this. Something's not. Oops. Oh, that's dumb. Might have some dirt in it or something like that, possibly. But it's not feeding right. I'm just going to oil right down on this part of the mechanism here. Give it a little bit more back from the back end. See if that helps. Yeah, it's still not really doing right. There is a safety trigger. I'm wondering if that's not returning. Maybe it's got some dirt in it or something. This trigger right here is a safety trigger. This has to be pushed down. You see this part right here move. There's a spring. And I'm wondering if this little shaft right here is getting bound up because maybe it's dirty or something. I wouldn't doubt if it's dirty. I'm just going to oil all that. That's good. Make sure that that's returning. Because I don't know, it seems like it's not. I don't know. Something's definitely not right. I may have to take this apart and put some oil right inside of this thing. Clean it out maybe. This is the first trouble I've had out of it, and I've been using it for, well, I did that whole outside bit over there without issue really. But yeah, I did all of that with pretty much completely without issue, and now it's starting to do this. I mean, it's a cheap gun, but it would be a shame if it broke now because I'm so close to being done.
You just have to get the roof on it and then you're done?
I just got to get this on, and then okay, so there's the roof on the thing. Okay, now we got to get this door on here. The actual door itself is, I think it's 9 3/4 inches wide. Let me find that out for sure. That's the problem with tape measures; they always disappear. It's about 9 3/4 inches wide on the inside of the door, not including the little railings. With the railings, it's about 10 3/4. Then you've got the frame on the outside of that. You have another piece on this side. So I want to cut the opening in the garage somewhere between 9 3/4 and 10 3/4. So I think I'll just do it 10 inches. But first, we're gonna have to come up with something that these can screw into, because these are going to be on the outside of the garage, and when you screw these up, they have to screw into something other than siding and this inner wall, this wall board. This is not sturdy enough for this to hold this. So got to have something to screw it into. So I'm going to need two 2x2s. So I'm going to need 2 pieces of this stuff about the same length as this. Wouldn't hurt to have it even a little longer than that. So let's do Okay. Need to make sure this is going to work like I'm thinking it will. First thing I think I want to do is increase the depth of that floor by adding a piece of 2x4 down on the bottom. That's what that's going to do, is basically just raise it up a little bit. And I think I've got some already cut that might just fit. Yeah, I think what I want to do is put that in like that. That's going to raise that part of the floor so none of this stuff spills out into the run. And actually what I'll do is cut the hole first, because that's going to allow me a little bit of extra room for my saw on that bottom edge. So I'll just mark it now and drill the holes, the pilot holes, to start my cut, and then we'll put that in at the end. Okay, so I'm going to piece like that, a piece like this, and then we should be somewhere close to right. So I've got, it's about 11 3/4 inches in between them. All right, let's drill some pilot holes. This is kind of point of no return. Drilling holes in my garage. It's pretty much point of no return. I mean, I could fix it, but it'd take a while. So don't put it in the wrong spot. All right. Okay, that's through to the outside. Okay, so there's the hole cut. So that's the biggest, scariest part for me that I was kind of dreading, but it went pretty easy. So there's that. We need to get our framing pieces in now. It should be fairly, I want to say fairly weatherproof, but I really don't know. This is made by ChickenGuard. It's the X5. So what this does is it has sensors, has a light sensor. So it will sense when it's dusk and dawn, and it will start to pull up on the door at the appropriate time. So when it does, this has a catch in it, so you can see these two locks down here, that when it starts to pull up, those locks retract, and then it pulls it on up and stays up all day, and then when it lets it down, these lock into place. So that, anyway, that's how it works. But, we'll have to report back probably within, you know, a year or so and see how this went. I'm kind of skeptical. I might have to put something over the top of it, like a little shield to kind of keep the rain off a little bit better. That's what I'm thinking I'll probably end up doing, but for now I'm just going to install it, and we'll think about that stuff in the future. Okay. Okay, this will be the first time I will have opened this even, so we'll see what it's like inside. All right, obviously we've got a little motor here, a little DC motor attached to a little spool of string, and have a little tensioner arm, looks like here, and yeah, it's exactly what that is. That's some kind of little tensioner arm. What have we got here? We got, okay, so we got a battery compartment. It takes 4 AA batteries. We've got a jumper. I'm not sure what's up with the jumper. Maybe that's some kind of programming thing. I don't know. This does have a USB plug. I'll have to go through the manual and figure all that out later. Maybe that's for updating it. I don't know. But that's USB, and what's this? That's okay, so that's for a permanent source of power. We may want to do something with that, actually. Rather than the batteries, that would definitely be better. 9 to 12 volts DC is what it says it'll take for the external power. What we got? So I need a 9 or 12 volt center positive. Okay, I'm sure I can handle that. It probably doesn't pull many amps, so we're not worried about that. Yeah, I'll run it on batteries at first, because they provided some batteries anyway, so I'll test it with those. I'm not sure how far above the door, though, I'm supposed to put it, because you got to put it up here somewhere. Let me go check that out. The instructions didn't really tell you very much with this, which is why I'm making this video, because it's kind of sparse on the instructions. So anyway, we'll see what I end up having to do here. Okay, so this has a little bit of a bigger booklet than I thought. It's got like a quick start thing, which doesn't tell you much of anything at all, and then it's got this, which is a little bit better. It says using the 4 screws, attach the control box to your Coop slightly aligned to the right so the string is straight. So the string is straight down. I think we're going to want it something like that. Another thing I kind of thought of is, what's it going to do when you get like freezing rain and this all gets wet and then it freezes shut? You know, it's not going to, you're going to have to probably come out here and break it loose, you know, to get it started on days like that. Okay, that's pretty well on there actually. That's not bad. I don't think it's going anywhere. Initial setup. When the screen is on, press the menu button and scroll to Setup Wizard. Setup Wizard by pressing the up or down. Okay. Okay, that's letting the door down. It's doing a calibration right now. And then that will stop it. It says the door will now open fully. Timer. This option is for automatic opening of the coop door in the morning or automatic closing in the evening at your set times. Press up or down to set the open or close hour. What do you reckon? 6 a.m.? Yeah, we'll go with 6:30. Close settings will use the sensor. This should, if I cover the sensor, it should close. I don't know if using the sensor is a great idea because sometimes, you know, it can get awful dark and it'd be the middle of the day. I don't know how reliable that's going to be. Okay. But for now, why is it not all the way open? Keep going, keep going. Why isn't it open? Well, what I do need to do now is get a couple of screws in this so it doesn't fall. Okay, it's done.
Oh, that's awesome. That is badass.
But I kind of got that there for now, so we can go ahead and get them in it. Let's go ahead and do that.
So I'm going to put them in here and let them walk in there, or what am I going to do? Put them in there and let
Put
them
them in
walk
there
out
and let them find their way in
Okay.
here.
All right, because they already know this, right?
Yep.
Okay.
One of them's walking. They like it.
No, she made it up to the top bar. All right. I thought I had placed those bars maybe too far apart, but it appears as if they're about right. They're at least able to make it. And we got pretty much everybody roosting.